here we are. I got a first time guest here, Don Consuelo. I almost said swallow because of the topic that we're going to get into is pretty pretty
the stuff lurid. We're talking
about. Yeah. We got to talk about Vinnie Mac, Vince McMahon. And
yes,
for you guys that aren't wrestling fans, let me put it to you. This is why this is important. This isn't like some WWE gossip. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. It matters. Sports entertainment matters. And now it's combined with the UFC under the TKO banner. And Vince McMahon was essentially the owner, the face, he wore every hat there was, from announcer to in-ring character. He's the guy that made it happen. He's the guy that bought the territories. He's responsible for a huge name. And he has this scandal with a sort of Me Too sort of situation, allegedly, so far, with Janel Grant, who's 43 years old. I thought she was in her 20s because they keep showing this photo of her. Of course, she's had plastic surgery and stuff too, but this is not some little kid. This is not some 18-year-old intern. She wasn't even working there. You've been covering it. You've been covering wrestling in general as well.
Yes, sir.
Let's walk through the timeline of what's going on here with Vince McMahon. He's out of the company. He's off the board. What has this girl been saying? And then I want to get a penny for your thoughts on how true any of this is.
No doubt. So if we're talking about the Vince McMahon lawsuit right now, we actually got to go back a couple of years from when Vince first got pushed out of the company, when a bunch of these allegations started to come out because the Wall Street Journal had nothing better to do. So they decided to dig through a bunch of old ancient history, a few of which have been mentioned in the Janel Grant lawsuit, the Rita Chatterman, the female referee that's there, and her long discredited accusations. And then the way that Vince had that retirement party at SmackDown, and then, I'm just going to take a step back and I'll just wait some time out, try to put some distance between the accusations coming mainstream. And then I'll just come back whenever I'm feeling a little too bored with my retirement.
You got Bruce Pritchard there. He basically his ghost.
Who Ronda Rousey, after all of this stuff went on, comes out and says, well, Vince is still going to have a say in the company as long as Bruce Pritchard's around. And it's like, well, as long as Vince is around, he's still going to have somebody's ear there, because without Vince, you don't have the Fed as you know it. You don't have wrestling as you know it. You might not like the WWE and its current product, or even some of its older stuff, but without Vince McMahon, we don't have any of this stuff. It's just,
there's no Attitude Era without Vince McMahon.
No, exactly. There's no Hulk Hogan. There's no Universal. There's no way that it gets on television. It stays the carny business that it kind of is now, just with better cameras and
it's kind of how it started. Yeah, it was actually MMA got started from pro wrestling too.
Exactly. Yeah, the Pancrase stuff that Severin Shamrock and who's the Japanese guy who did it. But anyways, no. So yeah, going back, is all that original stuff.
Even Carl Gotch and those guys that went over to Japan. Yeah,
that's right.
That's that. I'm nerding out. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah.
We could go on. Oh my God.
Ricky Dawson in the Mafia. Yeah, he was with Inagawa Kai. Got stabbed in a bathroom, but wrestled Ric Flair. Yep.
Exactly.
Ricky Dawson's secretly Korean, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he had to adopt the moniker.
His sister played professional basketball for South Korea.
Is that right? Okay. All right, man. We got some topics to talk about later, but
Tokyo Underworld, man. For record, I lived in Japan for 16 years. I'm there right now. I'm even wearing. Can you read that? It says Pacman.
Oh my God, that's great. If we want to talk about gaming,
this by the way was a mistake. Pakuman. Pak means like chomp chomp or something. It's the onomatopoeia. So
just literal.
Yeah, like biting guy or something. Yeah. Okay. Then there's Miss Pac-Man, which, hey,
Miss Bite Guy.
See,
isn't that kind of what Vince was wanting from Janelle?
Well, he was more he was down with Brown. Let's say that could have been an accident. He's almost 80 years old. He just
exactly. Because she's older than I thought, and Vince just doesn't look his age. He's just. Everybody has the same idea. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking out of turn on this one, but whenever I think of Vince McMahon, I just always think how he looked right around Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, where he's just sort of gray and he doesn't become that ancient man that just kind of shows up on television every once in a while.
He's like eternally about 63, but a very fit one in my head. And I forget. Oh no, he needs he has trouble walking and stuff. He's gotten way older, but
Yeah.
he is on Tremblant, and that will make you fuck a lamppost. So
Okay.
apparently, it's what I'm hearing from bodybuilders and stuff. They just like your standards go out the window, whatever. So then on all these hormones and stuff, probably a few concussions, not making the best decisions. I don't doubt this woman's. I don't doubt the truth of the nastiness of what was going, what went down. But I do doubt the whole I was trafficked, it was forced, lack of consent. You're 40 something years old. You're writing, give it to me, daddy, and all this stuff. And you're thinking, like, this, come on. This was either something you did and then regretted, or worse. And this gets into the conspiracy side, which there is some evidence for. This was a honey trap from the beginning.
That's what I was, setting up there in the beginning by telling the old story about how Vince, well, after he took his little retirement, and then, okay, so everybody who was left, the Nick Khans, even his daughter, who has also got roped into this by a different accusation we might touch on a little bit later, and Paul, well, Triple H there as well, and them all of a sudden, I don't know if we want to be in this for the long term. We might end up looking at selling, and then Vince catches wind of this and is like, well, I can come back. It won't be like the way that I used to, but Vince is always going to do whatever he wants. So, I can come back and we can navigate this sale. Everything will be great. And I'll just come back and I'll just do that. No, I won't be on the creative side or anything like that. We're just simply going to negotiate a potential deal. And people were unanimously held a vote. And, well, they just decided that Vince should stay on the outside looking in. And Vince also taking a look
which
at his
included
portfolio.
his daughter and son-in-law.
Exactly. Oh yeah. So that comes out, and all of a sudden, Vince gets this complete and total unanimous vote of non-confidence. You're not coming back to the board. We're going to be fine. Vince looks at his stocks and goes, well, pal, I'm a majority shareholder, so it really doesn't much matter what you have to say about this. I'm forcing my way back on the board.
I could see that verbatim. Well, pal.
Here's the thing. The guy's in my president spot. Well, pal, you're fired. So he comes back to negotiate the sale to TKO. Remember all those rumors about Saudi buying up the stuff? I don't know, whatever ended up happening with that, but I apparently got a nice tea set out of that, but ends up negotiating the deal. TKO gets formed after, merging with Endeavor, and who's on top of the board? What are those names at the top of the TKO board?
Somebody Kanye West was mentioning.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of them.
Ari Emanuel.
All right, and Mark Shapiro. Coincidences.
I don't have
no. Oh man, I need to get one. You need to start selling those.
I'm in a hotel. Yeah. Oh, we have our logo on it soon when I get back to Korea. It's on. But there's something. I don't know. I noticed something. I can't put my finger on it. But But what we have is you've got a woman. She's 39 when they meet. Apparently, she's in the same penthouse, she's in a penthouse at the same condo, to giving round-the-clock care to her parents, both of whom die.
Yes.
But so she didn't have a job. She doesn't seem to need money. She's in the same condo as a billionaire.
Yeah.
So that's odd. That's not your typical 40-year-old woman. And somebody introduces her to Vince McMahon. Says, here, he'll give you a job.
Yeah, because I just pulled up the complaint, and when I was listening, I listened to it and I read through it a couple of different times, and something that really popped out, it's like, okay, I've never had previous work experience in general. The only thing that she's ever done is look after her elderly parents. Like this professional daughter that we have right here, just magically making a home for herself during her time with her family's bankruptcy going on.
You can't really put high-end prostitute on a resume, though.
Man, you know what that is
in the United States, except for Nevada, maybe.
Yeah, she was just hoping for that WWE East, just eventually, or I guess West popping up. But that immediately, because there's several contradictions in this filing where it's like, okay, I felt that, Vince was really, I had to walk a tightrope in order to get, maintain my position within the company. But then when I got transferred over to the XFL, all of a sudden I was starting to pipe up about the need that there needs to be a performance enhancing drug policy. Like, Why are you going to rock the boat like that? And performance enhancing drugs with Vince McMahon. Do you remember what the dude went through in the 90s, for God's sakes? Like, why would you bring that up specifically?
Or I can't hold the position I have, this $75,000 entry level job, unless I sleep with a boss. It's like, maybe you did that to get the job. Maybe this was a mutual exchange.
Yeah. And oh my God, my job. It just,
but women have no accountability. If the guy does that, he's a sleaze, and he is. I'm going to give her this job if she'll bang me. But the girl isn't like, oh, I'll just bang the boss and get a high salary. You're also a sleaze. Like, this is not like, no one forced you to do this.
Exactly. No, something I was covering back in 2021 that follows along the same lines as this. This is why, on top of the fact that I'm a big wrestling fan as well, it's, the Me Too stuff. It's the biggest problem of our time that nobody really wants to address, because nobody ever wants to really hold women accountable for their actions.
Which is a sad thing, because you get stuff like Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Nygaard, and they like actual serial raping lunatics.
Yes.
Harvey Weinstein's another one. They should have come down on these people long ago. Everyone knew, nothing was said. The stuff that's going on right now at Deutsche Bank, Barclays, and stuff is sickening. There's a lot of these like sugar baby, sugar daddy relationships, which aren't really, it's not trafficking. It's not what it is, but it's just all disgusting, and people getting jobs they shouldn't get, people getting promoted they shouldn't. That's sort of the pink ceiling, they call it. There are girls who are willing to do that, who cut ahead of other girls. That's all that stuff is true. It is also true that sometimes girls just use accusations as blackmail. Do this or I'll say you did that. And all you got to have is an accusation. That's all you need. Like what's happened to Trump.
Russell Brand was a big one from
Russell
last year.
Brand,
too. That just all of these.
Julian Assange, they accused him of rape.
That one's the worst for sure.
The Tate brothers, both of them apparently. Like, that's just crap. Like, that's that whole thing. You've covered it. I've covered it.
And Trevor Bauer as well. That's what I was talking about from 2021. It's
the
like
Duke lacrosse thing that never happened.
Rolling Stone. Whenever I see them pop up in the news, it's like, why do you have any credibility left? Like your entire UVA your hoax story right there. You had to
the UVA one too. Yeah. Like, it's pretty. It's if I'm defending Duke, the world's about to end. So I'm a Tar Heel. But they never did that stuff. So it's like.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what guys like us do. We take a look at the facts regardless of our opinions on the situation. You just have to assess it objectively. And well, not enough people on the internet are doing that, because they just want to tread lightly.
Dude, and when it's
ruffle any feathers.
I went hard on Weinstein. I am the guy on Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
Like, I've gone hard on these people when it's actually true, but when it's not, I think false accusations of rape should be treated as if, okay, you just raped. You should get the same amount of time or whatever as if you rape somebody. You're destroying that person's reputation. And
it's something that nobody ever comes back from, because you can take a look at even the Johnny Depp stuff, as in comparison to the other people that we're bringing up here, all of his accusations kind of low level in comparison, but you still have a not insignificant contingent coming out and still thinking that Johnny Depp is an abuser. It's absolutely ridiculous, and there's no way that he's ever going to be able to clear his name in totality. So yeah, exactly. You got to punish those accusations with consistency.
Have you seen these things where like someone will get let out of jail after X number of years because the girl finally says, okay, he didn't do it. And he's just wasted like 8 or 9 years of his life.
There was one recently, I seen a video going around on Twitter. And yeah, it was a guy who was sitting there. How he lost decades of his life, off of false accusations. And it's like, okay, so what's his restitution going to be? Well, he gets to go out and he gets to be free now. What about that lying bitch?
Yeah, what about the girl? Decades? And there's girls that'll do it to several men.
Yes.
Like they're just scorned or whatever. Like, I'm going to say you make me.
Yeah. What's her name? Emma Ida Gabby. The Tate stuff, right?
Oh,
what is there? She's ended up causing one guy to yeet himself. And what? Man, because I had somebody actually who knew her from childhood reach out to me. I did a video on that one specifically, and the information I got from her. And wow, it's like she's been doing this forever. And the fact that she is still out there roaming free. This is why these accusations continue.
Yeah, because nothing will happen to her.
Yes.
And you're not even allowed, well, maybe you can, but like the people being accused can't even clear their name and show what a disgusting horror this person is because it's witness intimidation.
Exactly. No, yeah, and Trevor Bauer had to wait until after everything was done, after his record-breaking contract got severed by the Dodgers. He has to go over and pitch in Korea. He's absolutely killing it over there.
Which we
he
like.
won the Cy Young, for God's sakes, and he's not allowed back in the MLB. Like, you're telling me a guy who's in his absolute prime is not worthy enough to be on somebody's MLB roster. Get the fuck out of here. That's absolutely absurd. He has the evidence. The bitch made it all up. Her cousin corroborated the story that she made all this stuff up. She was trying to set up Fernando Tatis Jr. from the San Diego Padres the exact same way. He didn't bite the same way Trevor Bauer did. He hit, and now he might get back on a minor league deal. Maybe next year, maybe sometime around this year, somebody will sneak sign him. It's ridiculous.
And stay in Asia.
Nothing.
Yeah. Almost the same pay. Just stay in Asia.
Exactly. Like, well, yeah, a couple of big names already just went.
They took Ohtani from Japan, so yeah.
Well, for $700 million. Come on.
Yeah. Nationalism goes out the window.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, now I am Los Angeles. There we go.
I gave a signed ball from Matsui to the mayor of Nara, and he
really
I know, like my neighbors in Virginia, one of them was Howie Long, so he knows, all the.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. And so I never pull favors, but I was like, I want to get like something really cool, and I knew they love baseball, and I was moving to Japan, and I get this Matsui, New York Yankees, da da da, and he was like, I like Ichiro. I'm like, well, I don't know Ichiro. Like I don't like. Fuck, this is a signed ball for the New York Yankees. That's one of the names on it.
The second biggest guy who's
Holy
there. For
crap.
God's sakes. Okay.
He did get a MVP and he did win World Series and all, but Ichiro is from the Kansai area. So that's
okay.
There's a Tokyo, Osaka thing, whatever.
Right.
But I was like, I can't believe that's what you said. Just take the damn thing. Like, I don't like Cowboys, but if somebody gave me a signed ball, I'll be very appreciative,
Yeah. It's like, oh, Aikman. I like Bradshaw.
It's, my uncle was a defensive coach, so I've met Daryl Green and Art Monk and all the old Redskin players back before they went to Maryland, but whatever. Off track. Getting back to Vinnie Mac.
Fair enough.
He does have a grown ass woman that has an unexplained non-work history. Meets with him for 2 hours, and not at a like at his condo, right? Just said it because I guess they live. Hey, she's the girl next door for real.
Send her up, pal.
Yeah, send her up. And I guess they can make some job for her in the legal department because she studied.
Yeah, what was the official title? Because even she was pointing out how convoluted it was. I'm worried about not having enough work or anything like that. No.
It's like, this is a made-up job. This is a Hunter Biden-style job. And you're getting his salary. You know what the deal is. You know why you're really being hired and what your real job is. She was okay with this whole thing. That's gross. It's not coercion if both people agree, like, yeah, I'm willing to do this for that. It's not like she had a real job and, I'll fire you unless you do these services. She didn't have a job, and she knowingly got a made-up one, knowing exactly what was entailed. You could have just said, no, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, as it says in the lawsuit right here, Ms. Grant, one of the job titles that don't mean anything, and everybody was starting to look around and wonder, okay, what exactly are you doing here? But of the people that she doesn't mention in the lawsuit, they already know the scam. And it's like they're already pointing at her as like, oh yeah, when we're talking about Vince, he would go over and he would point at me and she'd go, oh, yeah, she knows what I'm talking about. It's like, he's been doing this before. It's like, she's not special. Come on now. So
apparently in the office, she wouldn't shut up about him. She talked about him nonstop.
Oh, really?
And so people, they're already mad because she's there getting paid and she's not important and and then she keeps talking about Vince. And I think she's fishing for information there. Like, well, if I keep talking about him, they'll give me anecdotes and then I can add to my collection. Because this was a setup. We're getting there. So she does this. Now we've got all these lurid emails that people focus on. He named dildos after WWE talent. And apparently the black ones are after black wrestlers, white ones after white wrestlers, and so on.
Did the Farouk one say damn? I'm just wondering.
Did it actually say "damn" when you squeeze it?
Yeah. Oh, I got stuck in there. Well, damn.
I'll tell you what, that guy of all the just out of on an intimidation factor.
Oh, he's
Like
legit.
if you bumped in the back of someone's car and like that guy got out and looked at it and looked at you, like of all the wrestlers, that's in the top 5 of like,
Oh my god.
like, you know?
Well, him and JB, like how legit were those two guys though? The APA back in the cut. Oh man, they were great in the way that they put a what the fuck was that? Who came over?
Dude,
Public Enemy.
Ron Simmons kicking the hell out of Ahmed Johnson, like actually God. Kicking him to hell. Actually, oh man, that guy is just, I don't know. He was the scariest. He's probably really nice, but to me, he's frightening.
Oh, he'd totally legit, but at the same time, that's the guy that you'd want on your side, not against you in the locker room.
Like him and Steve Blackman, that's another guy that seemed real calm, but it was like that guy's just thinking about how to kill the whole room at any second.
Yeah, he became special forces or part of a SWAT team. Steve Blackman. Yeah,
he's teaching MMA in Pennsylvania. He got like really bad case of malaria and
almost right died, before, because he was signed during the New Gen era. Yeah, he caught a bad case, and then he didn't end up debuting until 98. And he was signed
Mick Foley put it well. He's like, you don't want to make your insults too off the wall because it's just not within the realm of possibility. But if Steve Blackman looked you dead in the face and was like, I'm going to break both your arms, like he might, you know?
Yeah.
Like he could. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that checks out. Okay, I'm just going to shut my mouth.
If Marty Jannetty said it, it doesn't, whatever. Guy, you know,
I do it with a smile on his face.
I mean, it's not like he couldn't. He's a big guy and everything, but Steve Blackman's more convincing. But
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Janel, collecting information by just trying to name drop Vince all the time. Everybody's like, okay, so this is what the new flavor of the month that's in here.
Or
yeah, kind of makes sense.
She was really into it.
Because okay, for the text message that she released in the lawsuit, there's only 2 messages that we see from her, and I think that that's quite telling because when the way that the lawsuit, when it gets filed, that one from there, it's always going to be presenting the best case possible for the person filing the lawsuit. So of course you're going to get all the salacious claims, and the fact that we go immediately from, oh no, he was just that Vince was trying to lord my power over me to putting a brown crown on her head. It's like you're kind of missing a lot of the connecting tissue right there. But of the information that we've seen on her behalf,
brown crown.
Hey man, you know, the queen of the toilet.
Who knows?
This is supposed to be what? Yeah, the Devil's Triangle with Johnny Ace, and he's like, "Oh, can't you go wash up? Oh,
Johnny Ace
stinks in here."
John Laurinaitis, by the way.
Oh my God, what do you got?
Dated or was married to the Bella Twins' mother, who's
that's right, yeah,
who has cancer during this whole.
Oh shit, that's right.
Pulling on old McGreevy, who was his wife had cancer and he was banging an Israeli national homosexual. Yeah, Johnny Ace. I've heard a lot of Johnny Ace stories, and this seems to be the case. The rumors are not too far off the mark, right? I've heard a lot of those already.
There's a reason he's one of the most well-traveled guys in the entire business, okay, especially behind the scenes stuff. It's like, yeah, okay, he made his name working in All Japan, bounced around and started as an agent. I think he started as an agent in WCW and then ended up becoming the, well, for lack of a better term, number 2 for Vince over on his side. But that was totally unintended, but you know, it works.
Could have been. Could have been unintended number 2.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
I'm gonna go wash off. You keep banging the hoe.
Yeah, exactly. And when I come back, I want everything to be exactly where I left it. So,
God, at least they didn't wipe it with their hair. There was a skit where I think it was Trish Stratus where they just
bark like a dog.
They had like a mop.
That was with DX. Oh no.
No, it was Stephanie and Vince that just like one of the wrestlers hit her and then they just like mopped her with this disgusting stuff and then dumped it all on her hair. And
that's right.
Yeah,
that was back before Trish actually started to get into the ring. Yeah, that was probably for the lead up for X7 during that time when she was doing all that crazy shit.
It's a period where there really weren't enough talented female wrestlers. Yeah, there was sort of Trish and Lita, Victoria, maybe
Jazz
and Ivy and stuff came in, but like they they didn't have enough. It was mostly Stacy's legs, or
Yeah.
Tori Wilson and stuff did learn to wrestle, but not at first.
Learn is a bit of a stretch. She definitely showed up. She had gear, and well,
her Royal Rumble comeback was, I was like, wow, she's doing it now.
She is somebody. Even now, she looks tremendous for her age, and she keeps herself in very good shape. It's just, hey man, like she was my favorite of that triumvirate that was down there, in the early 2000s between Stacy, herself, and Trish, and everybody was, gawking out over those two. And it's like, Tori, she might not be able to go between the ropes, but for the role that she's there for, she was the best at it. She would do it. She would do everything for that company, and she got rewarded handsomely. And even when she was pressed recently, one of those soy boys who runs a fucking wrestling podcast that makes talking wrestling on the internet so fucking insufferable. That's why I'm so happy that you reached out that we could do this. But yeah, even she was like, yeah, no, Vince and I, we would knock back ideas. And I was really staunch on not wanting to do or some of those skits. And one that she highlighted specifically
was hotel scene.
Holy crap. And then working in her old man, it's like, the fact that she went along with that is like, and then she turned down. They wanted to recreate when
that was mild though, compared to some of the Vince Russo crap that came through, like Mae Young giving birth to a hand, and with Mark Henry. Remember, like,
makes sense. It's like, okay, cool. You want to say that she got knocked up at 70 some, or she might have even been younger than that at the time, because
on a scale,
she's always looked old.
On a scale of 1 to John Tenta mad at
Koji Kondo
mad at Arn Anderson. I don't know if you've ever heard that story. Or actually, on a scale of 1 to Jim Cornette's hatred for Vince Russo, how bad was it?
Oh my god.
You never heard the John Tenta story, Earthquake?
Which one?
He was pissed at Arn Anderson for something, and Stevie Ray and Booker T were in the trailer.
Okay.
And they hear this, just John Tenta is 6'5", a legit sumo wrestler, like trained professional sumo wrestler in the stable and stuff in Japan. Just big dude, like just guy you could break a chair on his head. He just, he got that Mongolian paintbrush. He's a white guy, and he came in just, where is he? And just taking one hand in furniture and like a frisbee, just, I'm gonna kill him. Just like so beat red mad. And that guy, when he's mad, like he's ready to bust a hole through the floor. And Stevie Ray's big guy, Booker T's big guy. And they were like, you ain't getting him this. And Arn Anderson, they didn't see him. Like he's looking at them like, I'm gonna get him. He's the back door of the trailer. He kind of peeped out, left. Yep. they saw him. They act like they never saw him. They're afraid there's nothing that can stop this man.
I didn't hear about that one, but the Koji Katao stuff, the guy who came in really quickly with oh my god, what was that, WrestleMania 6 or something? I think it was 6. Yeah, whatever. He came in and he worked with Tenryu. But yeah, they went over, and Tenta was the guy who went out there and had to set him straight on that one, shot on him rather. But
he wasn't selling, and then I've seen that. John Tenta's not a guy to test that stuff.
Man, there were so many of those guys that should have been so much bigger. But hey, man, Hogan was the guy who was packing them in. So
his biggest run was with Hogan. That was his biggest paycheck. I don't think they minded.
Second SummerSlam. Yeah, exactly.
Got his Earthquake smash on. He's holding the cross and all that. Hogan was good at selling. He put a lot of those people over, and that's what Hogan had to work with. It was like that and King Kong Bundy.
Had to make Warrior look competent. Yeah,
which is almost impossible. He did. I mean, he got Savage, who could actually wrestle. He got some people, but his pedigree was better in Japan because they let him actually wrestle. They didn't they're like, Hogan can't wrestle. I'm like, yes, he can. He just doesn't get to.
He's throwing drop kicks in NJPW, for God's sake. So
coming off reversal, the drop toe holds, and stuff smash, like he could do it. They just wouldn't let him. But and that's this is the thing. Vince was like a father figure to so many people, both fans and wrestlers. And there have been some comments on all this shit from like John Cena, who dated one of the Bella twins, who are
real close to marrying one. Yeah.
Right. And lucky for him. And Johnny Ace is cheating on their mother. with this Janel Grant. And John Cena comes out and says essentially like, he loves Vince and he wants it is just accusations at this point still. And he wants to have good, communicate with him and tell him, let's take this day by day.
No, exactly. Yeah. Because Cena's exact comments, I got them pulled up here. I don't think it's complicated to talk about, Cena said. I think it's complicated to listen to. It's kind of why I don't necessarily put a lot of time and equity into it. Again, there's still a long ways to go. I can say this. I'm a big advocate of love and friendship and honesty and communication, just kind of towing the company line, obviously. But in the same breath, I'm also a big advocate of accountability. I think you explained it well of if someone's behavior lies so far outside the value system, the balance shifts of like, man, can't operate in a world where this works. That's the end result of being accountable. Right now, I'm just going to I'm going to love the person I love and be their friend. And by that means like, hey, I love you. You got a hill to climb. Exactly. Just kind of, running back the whole love the person, hate the sin, not the sinner, just running that back in a different way. So yeah. And like Cena said multiple times over, it's like his favorite wrestler is Vince McMahon. He gives him all the credit in the world. So yeah. And then same with the Randy Orton quotes. It's the exact same thing. Like they're trying to clickbait him because he was interviewed by Sports Illustrated and the New York Post saying that, he's torn over this stuff and over the way that they try to categorize this as sex trafficking allegations. It's like when you read the lawsuit, when you get the information, it sounds salacious, but Vince was like, he's got a weird infatuation about having the hottest chick with him at all times and wanting to show her off. That's what comes across very strongly worded in those, in the text messages and in the lawsuit itself, is that he wants everybody to respect that he has the hottest chick in the room and he controls every aspect of her movement. So it's, the way that he tries to externalize his validation, that's the reason why he found himself in this situation. That's why he, became the target of such a predatory woman.
So he's sorry to say, he's got the nudes on the phone. Look what I got. Look what I got.
Yeah, the way that he would pass it around to, he would try to pass her around to a UFC champion WWE wrestler.
Who could that be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why would you lay all that stuff out? And there's like 6 people named, not named in the lawsuit. Like you have Johnny Ace, you have Vince McMahon, and then you have a couple of HR employees and then a couple of executives that are in there.
Physical trainer.
Gives a vague description. Yeah. She gives a vague description of one of the executives. It's like, oh yeah, the person who was there, who, if it not for him, we'd never be able to take the WWE to be this massive global brand. And he recently lost his wife. And I was trying to do some research in the background. And it's like, there's a couple of people that fit that description, but it's not quite as on the nose as the former UFC champion that they were trying to re-sign in 2021.
Was Pat Patterson married? I know he was gay, but he may have had a wife.
I was thinking it was either Pat Patterson or Kevin Dunn. Those are the only 2 people that really make sense on that one. And I can't find any family information on Kevin Dunn. Like that guy's a fucking ghost. And now the fact that he's gone, I don't really know about that, but yeah. So yeah, that's Randy Orton also, Randy Orton, without going through the entire quote, he's basically saying the exact same thing that Cena did. And because both of those guys are Vince's boys. They're part of the class of 2002 with Brock, who has also been, unceremoniously canceled for doing nothing, not even being named, being associated with the lawsuit.
Not named, and actually rejected the offer and never touched the girl.
Allegedly tried to set something up and a snowstorm, and she used COVID as an excuse, even though she was doing all of her dirtiest stuff during 2020 and 2021.
And then he got too drunk. There's always some reason it never happened, huh?
Exactly. But I find that interesting, the fact that she wanted to use COVID as an excuse, and a lot of people pointing out with one of the text messages that did end up getting leaked, the one where it's trying to be passed off that Vince was what was this? It's the only time. Okay, Brock told me afternoon. Yes, begging to eat you and fuck you with his nice and whatever. And it gets very detailed and kind of creepy.
Brock asked to see her piss, whatever, but that's just like, oh, really? Have her pee or something, and then she did.
Yeah, it was like, ta-da! Like, All right, it's weird, not the route I'd ever go, but
It's not illegal.
okay, yeah, exactly. No, and then yeah, with that text message, the change back here, the one of the two messages that she puts in this lawsuit: "Give me another week, baby, and I'll be ready. I'm feeling more like myself. It's not great, but it's getting better. Tell him soon." I kind of think that's her, also giving the excuse that maybe she caught the coof and didn't want to infect anybody else, but she's on the rebound, like actually physically, the way that she's trying to present that as being a mental, I've been groomed appropriately, where I'm just going to be this, human fleshlight that's just going to get passed around Titan towers. And it's like, I think if you do some reading in between this, and if Vince ever puts out his side of the story, because there's other people who have also pointed out this notorious perfectionist, the guy who had a list of like 80 banned words, using the letter U instead of you in his text messages. Hey, come on, can we actually get some full context on all this shit? Just saying, it's like there's some sketchy shit.
Guy that wouldn't even sneeze in public.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite Vince story from just little anecdotes that are out there. He always said that he never had a burrito in his life. Okay, it's like, what the hell are burritos? Never had those before. I eat meat wraps. It's like, what the hell are meat wraps? Oh, you see, you get one of those tortillas and you put a bunch of steak in them. You can eat them whenever you're on the go. They don't fall apart like a sandwich. Not enough. Don't have all those carbohydrates. It's like, so you've never had a burrito before?
It's a fajita.
All right then.
It's got
Fucking
steak.
Vince and his anachronisms. Or his favorite movie ever is Wild Hogs. Fucking Robin Williams and John Travolta. Wild Hogs.
Never saw it.
It just makes him piss himself laughing, or shit himself laughing.
Not himself.
No. Nope.
On someone else.
Exactly. I got people for that. I don't need to soil
You're
my own
not
hands.
a boss. You have a human toilet. God.
Nope.
That sounds far out, but you'd be surprised how many people are into the pee-pee poo-poo stuff for some reason. I'll never know.
I get, but yeah, people are also into the whole horse thing.
I think it's just they're into humiliation, and that's just a road to it. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Horses, that's
yeah, that's some Twitch type shit. I'll fucking leave that shit over there.
That's how you got AIDS now.
Yeah, somebody got a little too rowdy at the zoo,
and that's how we got COVID 2024.
Yeah, disease X. Okay, we don't like repeat branding. I haven't even looked into any of that stuff. Like, fucking whatever.
I just imagine messing with animals and gonna come up with something wrong.
Exactly.
Pathogens that shouldn't exist. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's how John McCain was spawned.
Oh, fucking! Whenever I have an opportunity to drop a McCain reference, I do the fucking most.
You know what? 40 something. Oh yeah, I'll smash McCain. Groomed at 41, 42, whatever years old, allegedly, and claims she's getting raped, and then shows up at work every day anyway. If that happening one time, leave.
Yeah,
quit. And then
because what is
goes on and on, takes an NDA, gets paid $1,100,000 of it, and then it stops. But why does it stop? What happened? Who paid that? It wasn't Vince. It's the accounting, and who controls that?
Yeah.
TKO.
Yeah, because the first of the installments for the NDA that gets signed under duress in 2022 was $1 million paid by but Vince McMahon, and also WWF. Now, what happens during the time when they are supposed to be switching over? Well, the WWE ceases to exist. It gets folded in with the UFC, and then becomes TKO Holdings. So they end up buying, association, given the fact that both wires, I've got pulled up, line 222, both the wires were sent with the originator described as Vincent K. McMahon, CO at WWF, and then it gives, yes, the Stamford, Connecticut address that's on there. So when things start to move forward, is it supposed to be doled out in $500,000 increments, and this airhead thinks that, why can't I just get all my money up front? You're a billionaire, isn't that how money works? It's like, if you think he's a liquid billionaire, I'd also believe that he took a liquid shit on your head. Okay, like that's not how the money works when you're at that level. So you get paid these $500,000 installments over the years. Don't know what the terms are supposed to be. We haven't learned that yet. And yeah, so it's got to get a sign off from Vince. and whoever is responsible for the accounting going forward of WWE. And as Ryan pointed out, that would be TKO Holdings. So, interesting. Somebody comes back on the board that you don't want to have on the board by force back in the cut. And now you have this unique opportunity presented.
Gee, I wonder who somebody would be.
I wonder.
I heard a bell in the distance. And she brings all this shit up again the day after a multi-billion-dollar deal with Netflix.
Exactly. What was the? I can go ahead and pull up that.
Is it 5 or 55? I don't know. Something
I remember that it's 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. Oh yeah, 10-year deal ends up Netflix becomes a new WWE home for Raw. What was it? 31 years. So now instead of Monday night, Raw is just going to be, streaming whenever Raw. And it's a good way that they can hide their dwindling ratings, but it's going to be really great. $6.7 billion. Oh, that's stupid CBC that's in there. But yeah, $5 billion deal. $5 billion deal across 10 years for the term, but it also has a Netflix side of the option where they can go ahead and keep it going in perpetuity for, I think, up to 20 years if things are performing well for them. And as we've seen kind of with the ratings for the NFL playoffs, the one game that, Peacock had, one of the Kansas City games in the divisional round, but they ended up getting 20 million people to tune out to their streaming service, and Netflix being the only one that's really turning a profit. Well, not only, they are the only one turning a profit, trying to get into as much as people debate that wrestling's not actually, it's not actually a sport. It's just as fucking physical as anything else. So just shut up with that stuff. But yeah, they're trying to get in with that. So
it's a unique thing. It's like it's scripted, it's predetermined. So it's just like football. No, I'm just kidding. It's
a good thing that they merged with the UFC. At least they can both put their same shtick under the same umbrella.
It is an athletic endeavor, and they are competing, but they're not competing with wrestling moves to like pin the other person. But they are competing with wrestling moves in a sense of the more you get the crowd to hate you or love you, whatever, react to you, the better your character is going to do in the ring.
Yeah,
because there is an actual way, like you have to be better at wrestling and better at getting eyeballs, and that allows you. It's like it's entertainment combat. Like whoever the better entertainer is gets to win, whatever.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing. So it is a competition, and it is theater. It's everything.
And
it's one of the last masculine things left on TV: pro wrestling and fighting.
Very much so. Yeah, even if some of the people in front of the camera might have some goofy political takes, like stupid ass CM Punk, he can definitely engage a crowd. And even at his advanced and crippled age, he can put on a compelling match and he can talk you into the arena. A lot of those guys do a lot of spectacular moves, but if you can't sell the product on the microphone, well, hey, guess what? You're not going to get booked at the later stages of the card. That's what makes wrestling so goddamn unique. And if you're not a fan of wrestling, it's one of those tough things where if you don't grow up with, or if you don't become a big fan of wrestling, it's really tough to try to sell anybody on it, because there's nothing quite the same as seeing a storyline come to fruition when you do with a really good wrestling build-up. Okay, like you're with it, that this is the time to really switch the belt.
Compare it's like a male soap opera. If anybody that just goes in first day and watches any soap opera just says this is the dumbest damn thing, but if you watch it for long enough, you get sucked in. You're like, I just want to know this. I just want to know that. And then suddenly you're sitting there watching it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, you don't get it. Those two used to be together. They were in this big tag team, and then they blew apart, and one threw the other through the barbershop window, and then they were supposed to have this big blow off, but hey, it's really cool. You got to understand. And then you can show them a match, and if there's something spectacular that's in it, you might be able to hook them, but chances are it's like wrestling fans.
I remember ex-girlfriend, the first wrestling matches she ever saw was the New Year's party, and that was when they had the table ladder chair match with the Hardys, Dudleys, and Christian and Edge, which is a pretty good one to start with. Like, unbelievable. This is what they're doing. I was like, yeah.
Is it all like this?
Yes.
There are a few Kennel from Hell matches, but we don't talk about those. Okay, we just focus on good old triangle ladder matches.
Yeah, it's one of the big deals that put all those tag teams on the map that day. That was
made superstars out of everybody except for Devon Dudley. He's the only guy who didn't win a world title in the grand scheme of things. It's kind of wild because it's not like he was the worst worker or the one that was but far and away like dragging the quality down.
No, he's afraid of heights though. Like if you watch all those matches, Devon doesn't go up the ladder except one time he was there with Jeff, and Jeff's kicking him, and he's like, "Quit kicking me, quit kicking me." And to keep doing it anyway.
I'm just here for a spot, bro. Come on, I just want to gig and let's get this over with.
I'll go through the table. I'll do this. I'll do that. I don't want to go on the ladder.
Yep, that's Bubba. You can go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly the Hardys and Edge and Christian.
But yeah, exactly.
It almost came out like the Dudleys were the table guys.
Yep.
Edge and Christian did the concerto stuff, and the Hardys were the ladder stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, they were always pitched as the crazy ones, and
they're all crazy, but like Jeff and Matt especially. But,
oh my God, the fact that they're still going, and
if he had stayed away from drugs, could have been the new Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, man. It was one of those things. Like he was never very good on the mic. Like him cutting I don't remember a Jeff Hardy promo, but he's one of those guys where I remember Jeff Hardy moments and matches, and he's still beloved by the fans, even though the fact that he's done so many goofy things throughout the years, been arrested so many times, like you brought up, just been constantly.
Like when they brought them in, they just had Michael Hayes, do the mic. Like that's what Bobby Eaton or whatever good manager can cover your mic. If you can wrestle well enough, and he's definitely a plus wrestler, S tier wrestler.
Yeah, his selling is very believable, and that's why he just needed a mic guy.
Michael Hayes, the guy that brought him in. Remember they had like the colored paint.
New Brood,
and then the Brood, and they had the Gangrel, and it was a good shtick.
Exactly. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't capitalize on a good
Vince
telling
fired
of the brother
for being
story.
Fat.
Oh, it's
like you're a vampire. You can't be fat.
Yeah. It's like you don't understand how good it's like the Brood. Even with Edge trying to bring it back a couple of years ago, everybody still remembers the Brood, even if you were only tertiarily watching wrestling. Okay, you remember them coming out of the stage underneath. Everybody always references that. Like whenever somebody's asked,
it was sort of like Kane's mini faction to the Undertaker's like acolytes and all that. Kane had his Brood.
Yep. Oh yeah, exactly. Man, what could have been? There were so many missed opportunities, mostly by guys that just couldn't get along backstage or just imbibed in the substances a little bit too much.
Yeah, but sometimes that works to their advantage. If you've ever seen a promo from Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Exactly. No, and that goes to show you just how stagnant we are with wrestling, because I don't know about you, but the first event that I specifically remember watching was WrestleMania 15. Probably a weird jumping on point, but I went down, it was actually with my dad and my uncle, and we went down to it was a bar that was in town of all places. So they were showing it there. Okay. And I got hooked off of that, even though that card absolutely sucks. But the moments that I remember, it's like Austin throwing Rock into the WrestleMania X7 sign that's down there, their no holds barred match. And it's like watching that back. I don't remember Mick Foley being the special guest referee, but being on and watching just about every single week, all the way up until WrestleMania 25. Just the fact that there were so many stars up and down the card. And
I watched NWA. This is how old I am.
Okay.
I remember the first match I saw in what becomes WCW was the Road Warriors, which was just awesome. They ran a gauntlet and beat like 3 teams in a row.
Oh my God.
And then
at the same time, probably.
And then I saw Flair Steamboat. It was Friday 13th. And what a match that,
that's a jump.
Anytime that happened, right? And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I watched the whole saga, the story of the Black Scorpion and Sting and Luger, the Steiners, Flair, all the WCW, Great Muta, all that. Like, War Games was created, Sid Vicious, all that. Always wanted to see Hogan and all that, but the island, we didn't have that channel. So we
Okay.
just get the Saturday morning stuff, and that's it. Like we couldn't get it, but knew of it. Did see WrestleMania 3, so
Okay.
with Andre and all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had WWF finally. It was F back then, and my brother, I have a twin. We watched both. We'd watch WCW, watch WWF.
Mm.
It was on, and like, I don't know, faded away from it at some point. Got brought back in '97 because of Stone Cold.
Okay.
And I thought, God, I forgot how much I love this stuff. Like, this is so good.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things, right? Like you grow up with it and you just like it for different reasons, and then you come back to it and it's like, oh, yeah, this feels right. It's like
We
when I
showed
hopped on.
WrestleMania 6 in sixth grade or whatever it was. Like, we got to bring it in and show the Warrior
Okay.
Hogan match to our classroom.
It's like they don't do much, but it's awesome. Okay, they stare at each other for like 3 minutes and then gorilla press slam and it's over. And Hogan kicks out at 3.1 because he still wants to save a little bit of face. And
The
once
color
that,
commentators make it exciting, like, and
yeah, because that was Jesse.
that's
Well,
what it is
right?
too. I followed Jim Ross, like, because he was WCW and then he switched, and like he was always the guy. That's my color guy. And you know what? All shit hit the fan after he got fired. It was like Vince was rounding the wagons. Like, I'm gonna get Laurinaitis in here. I'm gonna get the old crew back in, but Jim Ross can't be here because Jim Ross won't put up with any of this shit. Yeah. So yeah, notice that.
Yeah, that's interesting because that was that press conference where Flair. That was like what, a couple of weeks after his son died.
Yeah, he was drinking
Right,
with Johnny, whatever. But they were looking to get rid of him. It seems like
kind of not like the situation we find ourselves in right now with the lawsuit. It's somebody using an opportunity to go ahead and get rid of somebody. Yeah.
So Vince gets pushed off the board just based on accusations. All this crap hits the internet, emails and all her side, none of his.
Yeah.
They put a picture of her out that makes it look like she's 20 something years old when she was in her 40s through 39 to 43 when all this
I had no idea. And you mentioned that, and it's like, okay. It's kind of like whenever you get a different, a nice young jogger coming through the neighborhood, and yeah, they put up his graduation picture, but this guy's been to jail a few different times, but oh no, he was just a good boy who didn't do nothing. So that's the pictures that we're seeing of Janel out there.
Adam Lanza too. The first pictures of him was when he's like 11 or 13 years old.
Right.
The Sandy Hook guy.
Yeah.
And the press was just so sloppy on that. They blamed his brother. They had the wrong photos or the very young one. Like, they're like, need to be first, and don't need to be accurate. Oh, Alex, yeah, well, he thinks the whole thing's fake. So,
no, fucking idiot.
Crisis actor.
It's kind of like getting your combat training from wrestling. It's like the same way if people get their information from Alex Jones. They're both entertainment, you fucking idiots. So.
What's best is Alex later was like, I never said I was good both sides of the story. Like, dude, you absolutely did do that.
We know that you're being hyperbolic at the same time, but it's like, just be accurate with what you're saying, for fuck's sakes. Okay, yeah, no, globalists are out there, and it's the Chi-Coms. Sure.
Yeah. This is a guy that wanted to Moab Gaza inch by inch. That's what he said after October 7th.
Right.
We do this, like Moab in rows. Carpet bomb with Moabs. Yeah. Inch by inch. Got to get everyone out of there, but that's the only way we can do it. Israel's like a guy that beats the hell out of a dog, and then the dog bites him, and then he shoots the dog and shoots the dog's puppies, and then runs around with his bite mark going, look, for no reason.
Now, that's something that became so incredibly obvious for a lot of people this time around. There was a couple of other dust ups, and I've got some videos. Like, I've been doing this stuff, excuse me, not nearly as long as you have. Okay, you're definitely the authority on this stuff and definitely connected a bunch of dots for me. But when I started in 2020 is when I put out my first piece of public content. And well, because when was the last big dust up between the two that ended up getting national?
Well, there was a 2021.
Yeah, 2021. So I did a little bit of stuff on that.
Blew up the AP building.
Yeah, with the journalists in the building and all that
the
stuff.
First people they target is the press every time.
Yeah, exactly. And the people that I was listening to at the time, they definitely did come forward and outed themselves as being hardcore Zios in the aftermath of October 7th. Now, well, you should probably go back to October 5th. Nobody wants to do that now, do they? But yeah, really had a different take.
Flooding the Alaska Mosque.
Yeah. Why does nobody want to talk about that? That's whenever I get the opportunity to mention this, I always shout you out on that and just go, just do a little Google search about what happened on October 5th. I'll really clear up a bunch of stuff for you. But when that popped up in 2021, I was just assessing the situation, just going, bombs that are flying, there's a lot of people that are dying. And well, generally speaking, it's like, I don't really know where to line up on this one. There's no real information that's out there. Everybody's been banned off of all the different platforms. Rumble, I was posting to at the time. And it's like, well, their video algorithm isn't quite as, it's gotten a lot better since that time. But back in the cut, like you couldn't find any decent, truthful information. All you got was just the narrative over the top of anything that you were going to be seeing. So
you still can't really. I mean, you can now on Rumble or Telegram or something, but the only show, which I was just on actually, I would say this anyway, but the only show on YouTube that covers this kind of angle is Judge Napolitano. And I think maybe he's not banned because he's a judge and he'd sue him. But he's the only one left. Like they got rid of Ritter. They got rid of like anybody that said anything across, against the Zio narrative is gone.
Yep.
We have a Shekel chat from the PP Pooper Man. I guess that's Vince McMahon. He says, hey, sup, Rye, fuck Lincoln. That's every show. Every show I get a fuck Lincoln. I'm very proud of it.
Donating to a good cause, pal.
There you go. Yeah, I'm not on my PC, so I don't have all the toys I usually have. But yeah, there you go. But this whole thing, I've noticed that wrestling fans and mixed martial arts people tend to also align with me politically.
Yes.
I would think they're unrelated. What the most people think, oh, pro wrestling fans are a bunch of backward, but there's a type. People with testosterone, I think, are just gravitate to like trying to make things right, justice, fatherly protection, something like that, and they like fighting stuff, and that's wrestling. That's certain comics and stuff. Like if it's superhero genres, like fighting, it's also MMA, all that stuff. There's a certain appeal to that kind of violence and a disgust towards doing it to kids and things like what the Israelis do. And so I've noticed that a lot of people, Jake Shields, another guy, really good on.
Shout out to him. We're really putting this stuff on blast.
Oh yeah, on Twitter, he's like, I am like, oh, I don't have to. I can just retweet this. I don't have to do half the work. So there's other people doing a lot of it because all those people were banned. Me too, but all of them were banned, and some of us are back. Some are still banned, and some are still shadow banned. But it's coming, and I see this move culturally to sort of phase out. I can see this. I can see a few steps ahead. They've already pushed Vince McMahon out with this shit.
Yes,
they're already starting to go after Dana, saying Dana White beats his wife and whatever. And so guys like Sean Strickland, who owned those Canadians the other day. They're not going to be able to say whatever they want to say at a fight conference. And I don't know why you're asking them this stuff. Ask them about their fight. But they have to come in and say, you had a comment 2 years ago about trannies. Okay, if you're going to ask that question, you better prepare for a Sean Strickland answer. Like you brought it up. So
what the fuck you saying? What the fuck are you saying?
2 years ago on a blog somewhere, I said a thing about the gays or whatever. Dude.
But was he wrong though? Exactly. No, just leave the kids alone. This is something that I talk about when I like to discuss entertainment and stuff, even though I haven't really watched anything in entertainment. I had 3 big jumping off points when it comes to different stuff because quite passionate about wrestling. Now I finally have an opportunity to talk about it. I'm very passionate about gaming, but it's been a long time and I got pushed out of that for the exact same reasons that I have with television and movies and everything else because it just got too soft.
Serial character.
There it is right there, man.
First one with multiple games, him and Mario.
Exactly. And had a bitchin' platformer that nobody understood back in Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Okay. It's like, yeah, Pac-Man 2. Yeah, 2. New Adventure. This shit was great. But yeah, the fact that it's all been.
Pac-Man had his own Saturday morning cartoon back in the day. There was a Pac-Man show. There's a Kubert too.
I must have missed.
Back
Okay. Yeah.
back
No,
in the
that's
80s,
right.
there was like a thing where it was like Pac-Man, Kubert, and like they did like the first time video games were a cartoon.
Right.
And there was even a little bit after that, there was the Super Mario show, which was
Yes.
half cartoon, half real life. This crosses into wrestling because
Exactly.
Captain Lou Albano was Mario.
Yeah. Oh, fuck it. It's so funny, right? Because
Friends with Cyndi Lauper and all that stuff.
ended up, well,
She brought them into MTV. She had Piper and a bunch of them in her music video.
yeah, the big reason for the build up for WrestleMania 1 was the war to settle the score. And I forget the first one, but yeah, if it wasn't for that connection with Cyndi Lauper, okay, that Lou Albano ended up facilitating, WrestleMania become the big hit that it is.
Wouldn't have had the Mr. T and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was one of the first only like tag team headline WrestleManias.
Yeah, if you want to look at some of now the fact that they're doing day 1, day 2 crap, but yeah, no, exactly. It's the first WrestleMania, and so when everybody starts bitching and complaining, it's like, oh, what's with all the celebrities?
That was a huge
WrestleMania's always been.
Dude, Muhammad Ali was the ref. They repeated that with Mike
Liberace
Tyson.
Was what, the timekeeper? Yeah, and then WrestleMania
Mike Tyson with 14, Sean and Stone Cold
in Austin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And no one, and Tyson is like no one knows he could just whatever. Like I heard somebody, I think it was Theo Vaughn saying, well, I don't know him personally, but I was watching something. He said,
okay,
sitting on the couch with Mike Tyson's like sitting next to a tiger, like a tame tiger, like somebody's tiger. It's still a tiger. And you're like, oh, don't worry, it's tame. But any second, like if it's mad at all, you're dead. That's Tyson. You're just like hoping he's cool. Because if for some reason he starts getting angry, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you're gonna get nothing. You're gonna get KO'd or worse.
Like what? Tyson's 5'9", and even Patrice O'Neal back when, because he wrote for 10 seconds in the WWE as well. But when he did the Charlie Sheen roast, and Mike Tyson was there, and he's like, Mike, even though he hasn't worked in a long time, he's still out there. He's still got those inclinations about him, where he's just gonna instinctually, he's just gonna size you up, and you know where you stand with him. He's the scariest guy who's ever gonna be in the room with you,
because he could go from 0 to 60.
Exactly. Did you that Tyson documentary from 2008, 2009? I got a copy of it over there, so that's what I'm looking at. And
Don King in the head.
Oh my God, Don! What a complex individual Don King is.
I'm not saying anything about him because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, I don't want to end up in a ditch somewhere. That's for true.
That dude was mobbed up, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, all those fun stories, and Mike Tyson just lending his credibility. And it also shows a sign of the time, because back in for WrestleMania 14, that was, well, what would that place it with? So that would be 96. Oh no, 97. Yeah. No, that would have been the 98 WrestleMania. So yeah, it puts that right there. Yeah, no, that's right. Anyways, but no, the fact that he was just fresh off of a prison stint for a rape that he didn't commit, my take on it, not necessarily Ryan's. I'm speaking for myself on this one, but the fact that he could come in, and
I can see the rape, but not the battery. I'm like, she's like, he hit me, and I'm like, no, he didn't. Look at you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Full circle there. Muhammad Ali also fought Antonio Inoki in one of the first MMA matches in Japan. It was weird. Gene LaBelle was the referee. But it's odd that the first WrestleMania has a legit boxer who's in one of the first MMA matches, and now MMA and wrestling are all together again, when MMA comes from pro wrestling anyway, with Carl Roach and the rest of it. It's a nice story with a fucked up ending. If this stuff ends up all being true with Janel Grant, it hurts. I feel most in line with Randy Orton, because Vince is somebody I want to defend, I am biased. I admit that. If somebody, I
Yeah.
don't want this stuff to be true, but if it is, fuck them. But I don't think I'm being subjective. I think if you look at it, even though I'm aware of my own biases, this woman's in her 40s. She's there. They get a multi-billion-dollar deal. Then she comes out. TKO stops paying her NDA. She wants more money. And the other weird thing is, even after her and Vince had an NDA, and she's no longer working there, so he can't be like, I'll fire you or else. She still maintains contact with him and hooks up with him again.
Yeah, and because that was also because I just pulled up the lawsuit because I wanted to go through all of the different cash and prizes that she got over the years from. I was like, oh, I was being trapped, and it's like when you got like $100,000 worth of additional gifts, you got $1 million, and after the NDA got signed, you got a $10,000 payout from Vince to cover all of your legal fees, and now you want more money for your legal fees over the top of it. Just stop it, okay? And yeah, you were
What
making
are some
content,
of
or
the
at
gifts
least
she got in addition to that? There's some
all
more.
right, let's just go with that one.
What
So we got
wasn't there a car? I think.
yes, a BMW.
Mm-hmm.
A not ugly and a not old BMW. All right. So the following example for the items received by Miss Grant in 2020. $20,000 towards surgery, paid directly to the surgeon's office. A pearl diamond pave and lariat necklace from Betteridge in Greenwich, Connecticut. Was also when I was first doing my coverage on this, I was wondering, is that the same jeweler that the $1 Million Man got the $1 Million Championship from? Because that would be sweet. Blue cashmere knee-length cardigan from Nordstrom. A blue Burberry check cashmere scarf. A blue cashmere and fur hat. A gray cashmere shawl. Celine sunglasses. Cable knit throw blanket. A large bouquet of flowers delivered approximately every other week. And that's just in 2020. All of that stuff from Nordstrom. And then in 2021, she got the 2022 BMW 430 XL, $5,000 gift certificate from Lanphier Spa, 2 private chef catered dinners in Mr. McMahon's condo, gold and diamond pave paperclip necklace from Betteridge in Greenwich, Connecticut, $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards, food assortment displays, and an antique tea ceremony set from Saudi Arabia. And finally, a large bouquet of flowers delivered approximately every other week. Really sounds
Well,
like you really
every
want to
other
be
week,
Mr.
and,
Wealthy.
and she got
Every other
tickets
week.
to some horse racing show thing too.
Oh, Belmont Stakes, yes, because
Yeah.
that was also alleged early in there that, my dream as the kid of somebody who had to declare bankruptcy is that I want to go to the Belmont Stakes. And what ended up happening, she got a luxury box at the Belmont Stakes.
Do you
And she
know
also got
why
VIP.
girls
Go
want to
for it.
go to the Belmont Stakes?
Why is that,
It's
Ryan?
not to watch the horses. It's because you're surrounded by potential sugar daddies. Everybody there is rich.
Exactly.
Everybody there is
Exactly.
rich. I know girls that will go play golf or tennis or whatever just to be around a bunch of rich perverts.
Yeah.
They'll just go get a racket and a nice skirt, whatever it is, hang out, hoping that some country club dork will pick them up. Like,
Yeah. I see that in my neck of the woods too. It's like, okay, I see these chicks. They post their pictures on Instagram. Obviously, I'm not by any water or anything like that. I'm up here in the Great White North of northern Alberta. Okay, so I'm up here and I see all of these chicks because they can't post on boats. They're posting in their branded Never Tree camo, all their pink camo, all of their entire gear costing thousands of dollars. Do you think they give a fuck about hunting? No, they just want to latch on to this unaware goof, this average chump who has a lot of disposable income. So it doesn't matter where they're at, they're going to find a way to fit in.
It's chumps plural, and this is part of the
Yes.
degeneracy here. Is like women have realized, this is the scummy ones at least. Part of the reason for the low birth rate, low marriage rate, so on, is a woman thinks, well, why would I be with someone who can provide for me when I can have multiple people provide for me who I don't even have to see or live with or anything? If you can gather enough simps, you can get more income than marrying a single person.
Yeah. Shout out to Myron, who I know you've talked to a fair few times, and yeah, he also points out that these chicks have these guys saved in their phone. That one's for lunch, and that one's for a ride, and that one's for going out on a boat. And if you think that that's only an exclusively Miami thing, you haven't talked to modern women. I can tell you the exact same
Smiling
thing
Games,
happens up
Fresh
here as
and
well.
Fit, by the way. You can go check them out. They talk about that kind of content all the
Absolutely.
time. Yeah, they just have a Rolodex of orbiter dudes
Mhm.
and simps, and they can live like that. Just travel around the world. Some simps will pay for everything, but it's very hard for them to have a boyfriend because he's not going to put up with that crap.
Yeah.
Never going to have a husband, and definitely not going to have children.
No, they're taking the quick money, but they don't realize that that creates a lot of slow problems. And that's what we're seeing with Janel
You
Grant right
seen
here.
Britney Spears lately?
What the fuck, man? I thought the
This
worst was going to be
girl
her dancing with knives, but
dominates the 90s, you know.
Mhm.
She's lost it, man. And it's like, oh yeah, your best years, huh? You're just out there by yourself, freaking out on drugs, and
Yep,
nobody wants you.
divorcing your, what is it, third or fourth husband, okay, because you wanted to get, I don't know, put on the rotisserie. I was like, oh, fantastic stuff that you
You're a
made right there.
boss babe that made your own money. How's
Yeah.
your life? How's your life
Yeah.
after 35?
Now you're propping up your iPhone to dance with a cigarette and fucking spin in a circle. Why? What are you doing? You dominated the 90s and the early 2000s. You have platinum records. But this is what happens, man. These chicks, they cash in on their sexuality. They never develop a second level. And this is Britney Spears, who actually has talent, who can sing, who can dance, who can sell out arenas. And she's fucking lost it. What hope do these Instagram thoughts have out there?
And puts this shit out in the public. Like, look at me falling apart.
Yeah.
Pay attention to me. She's addicted.
So in a couple years' time, somebody will come along with a white cape and go, there. But it's always the guys that these chicks are never going to want to be with because they're delusional enough to think that, well, I could get that 8 or 9 guy that was out there in the before times, and my sexual market value is evergreen. The fuck it is. So
unless you're Kate Beckinsale, you can't pull that off.
Yo,
50 still
my guy's
it.
saying something here. Exactly.
There are some times, I don't know, that foreskin magic or whatever it is, but Raquel Welch was another one. She kept her beauty for a long time. I think
Jennifer Connelly. Got to make mention.
A good choice.
Yep.
Yep. That happens sometimes, but
or you can just age like some, thought from Connecticut, and then
be
just
like Demi Moore, or you can be like.
What a stark contrast between Demi Moore and Jennifer Connelly, who were basically on the same trajectory at basically the same time. And one decided to do Showgirls, and the other one, decided to have a family. Who's working out better in 2024?
Yeah, but it's like they look at these few examples and think, oh, I can be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
No, and it's pushed, especially by, like, when I'm doing my content, my daily content, to put out 3 videos a day. And when I'm looking at sites like New York Post, Daily Mail, they're always trying to promote these chicks that are either past or pushing 50. Oh, look at how good she looks with a plunging neckline, not realizing that every picture that they post is so heavily filtered, and they have a professional makeup team on speed dial. It's like,
what happened to Madonna?
Why?
Sorry.
Yo, that bouncy ball on stage, like, what the fuck, this old bitch, like, why the fuck are you out there?
Like,
why? What are you doing? Like,
you have the money and stuff. Why would you get shit plastic surgery? I don't know.
And, Nana, go home. Nana, just you want to put a shawl on her. It's like, okay, just send. Well, also, just so she can fulfill that ET cosplay that she's been trying to do for a long time. But you just want to, just go home. You got a daughter. Just go enjoy your life, okay? But when all you do is sell sexuality and then you run out of it, these are the lengths that you have to go to attain any kind of attention. I'd say it's sad, but they fucking did it to themselves. So.
Yeah, I don't see the men behave that way about, like, Brad Pitt or whatever. They just don't care.
No, because men have to acquire value before anybody knows their name. The rest of these chicks can just fucking splay it wide open for the world to see. And, well, hey, man, they'll get the attention, but there's a shot clock running on that. And it's a dangerous proposition, but they still continue to line up to do it. This isn't a new thing with social media. Social media just simply put it on blast. I blame
simps too, though, because it's
oh yes,
it's a weird time period because a girl can gather simps from any country, any state, any county, wherever, and it's such a lucrative. I guess the ratio of, like, the amount of work work you have to do
Mhm.
compared to the amount of income is more than they're not, imagine what you'd have to do to be a doctor or an engineer or something, and they can make that much or more
Mhm.
showing the butthole.
Yep. 8 years of schooling, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, or just the idea of seeing a titty. I don't know, something seems a little bit easier than the other one.
The other thing, there's guys too, these prank streamers and stuff. I hate this shit. They go around and prank people or just harass people and stuff and film it.
Try to get into fights and then end up
Yeah.
getting knocked out on stream, and then nobody watches your stream anymore. I'm not mention anybody specifically.
And Kick enables this guy. Well, this guy, Johnny Somali, he came to Japan. He fucked around.
I've done a couple of videos on that.
I hate, my friend knocked him out, knocked his cameraman
Oh
out
yeah,
too. Yeah.
sweet. That okay, good. Glad. What a fucking piece of shit that guy is.
Not
It's
saying
just
their name, but a beer was bought for this gentleman. I'm just saying. Like,
hey man,
many
somebody
times
doing the Lord's work.
he did twice.
Exactly. Like it's.
But that
I
crap,
respect
you should
Japan.
not be able to just harass someone on a train like a middle school kid and film it. Like that's social embarrassment.
Mhm.
In Japan, they really, really don't want to be online or have all that attention. Shame is worse than death. And so, like, to do that and then to film it and then to put the film online, like, the amount of bullying you can do nowadays with kids can just film every embarrassing moment, you know, just wreck somebody. And they monetize this shit. They just walk around, and it started with Logan Paul being a jackass, like playing football inside
Yeah.
a marketplace and stuff, and filming a dead person in the, I think it was Illinois forest or something. And what the hell, dude? Like you can't just monetize like someone else's expense. Like, oh, look at how shocked they were that I just sprayed this guy with a hose out of rain or whatever it is. You know, I'm gonna just walk into someone else's house. Like some jerk in England was doing, just breaking into people's houses,
Mizzy.
walking
Yeah.
around.
Mm-hmm.
That's illegal. They don't get banned.
No.
I get banned for saying stop shooting Palestinian children, but you can go around and harass people and stuff and become a millionaire.
No, exactly.
Like, that's the
No.
equivalent of like girls showing their titties. Like guys just going around, they've monetized being an ass clown.
Yeah.
But you look at the long-term effects of this, and Andrew Tate's talked about this too.
Yes.
Like you're going to get more and more degeneracy because you're rewarding it.
Mm-hmm.
They look around and be like, why is everything falling apart and nothing works? Well,
yeah. No, you need
to
just look at the way that both of those cases, the ones that you brought up, the way that they were approached by the different countries. You had Johnny Somali, that was immediately taken care of by the people in Japan and then by the Japanese authority. They gave absolutely zero fucks to his little sob story, and properly prosecuted him rather. But then Mizzy running around going into people's houses. He was in and out of jail several times. It took him months and more lavish stunts. Hell, commandeering a train, and he didn't get thrown into jail over that one.
and didn't even lose his social media. That's what's like. That's why he's doing it, is because you guys are paying him, or because the attention he gets from it leads to some sort of payment or whatever.
Yeah, he gets rewarded.
Yeah, rewarding degeneracy. And
yeah, go on Piers Morgan, tell your sob story instead of having Ryan go over there and he can fucking elucidate the situation that goofs like. I don't know. I haven't actually heard anything that Bassem Youssef guy saying. I don't know if it's good information or not, but the way that he's portrayed in the media is that he's an absolute clown. He might have some points to him. I don't know for sure, but instead of having somebody that's credible over there,
but he is. Yeah. He's not a geopolitical analyst or anything. He's a guy. He knows about Palestine. Okay. He's making good points because he's the only one allowed to do it. Because he did something else as a comic and which he's talented at, and he also happens to be a political guy and he knows what's going on.
Okay.
But not like Grant F. Smith or Norman Finkelstein or like a long list of people that, well, Finkelstein has had some appearances, but there's a whole lot of people that never get to talk. Right. And I think
Norman or Ritter could
be like, because Norman Finkelstein's Jewish and his parents from the Holocaust, there's like a story they have him on.
To go ahead and just give to somebody who wants to offer the opposite position, you guys already know this. You guys are, fans of Ryan, supporters of Ryan, which definitely should be. Thank God for Rumble, because we actually have that opportunity to do that. So, yeah, if there was any balance to the world, if there was any balance to, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there we go. Now we're back.
I'm in a hotel. I told you.
Hey man, fair enough. I was just saying to the people watching, it's like, if mainstream media wanted any kind of credibility, mainstream, I should just call it mass media. That's normally what I do anyways, but they would have people who know about the stuff. They would have people that didn't have that air of dismissibility about them, because you, Ritter, Finkelstein, you guys are as serious as a heart attack when you guys talk about this
Miko
stuff. You have the information.
Yeah. Grant F. Smith, Scott Horton's another good one. Like Gideon Levy, even people they know, Ralph Nader. I mean, like, there's people know this stuff. What the fuck's happening? I'm losing connection, guys.
Okay.
All right, it's back. But anyway, I could list a lot of people that know, say, the Palestinians in and out, the serious stuff in and out, everything on the Middle East. Most people don't even know who to even look up, because if you're not on Twitter, if you're not on Facebook, you're not on YouTube, you're invisible.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So when I tried to cover my stuff, when I was doing a little bit of coverage, then post October 7th, and well, I got thankfully now, for the first time in my channel's history since 2021, I don't have any strikes on my YouTube channel. Oh, thank God. We'll see what ends up happening from that. But the last strike that fell off, and I know, Ryan, you're super sympathetic. Oh, he's only had some strikes on YouTube.
Hey, I'm glad you're there. Like, I didn't get strikes. They just erased me. Like, no.
Yeah. I had one channel.
The fifth time it happened. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I wasn't starting new channels. I would continually get my old channel back through appeals. One time I flew to Ireland and talked to them in person, because they don't give any other recourse. Couldn't do that the next time because COVID restrictions on travel. And then the time limit ran out, whatever. So my channel's gone forever. But they never gave me strikes. There was nothing to appeal. There's no one to talk to. There's no one to bitch about. They're just, you're gone. We've terminated you, Macau. Didn't even tell me why. Didn't give me strikes. Didn't even follow their own rules. And we all know why. He didn't like what I said. That's all. I didn't advocate violence. I didn't break any of the written rules. He just didn't like what I was saying. That's all it is.
I had a secondary channel.
I'm not alone anymore.
Secondary channel where I was just talking about health, fitness, wellness. I got all of that stuff that I put over exclusively now on Rumble, but I'm starting to talk a lot more about the coof and the jabs and all that stuff. There's stuff that I was also getting struck for on my main channel, where I've had 15 different strikes, but it's like on the second channel, I got 2 strikes and then they terminated the channel with absolutely no reason. Just like you were saying, oh yeah, we reviewed your content and yeah, violates our policy. It's like, oh, fantastic stuff. Ryan's bouncing in and out. We'll probably have to cut it here when Ryan comes back, because you guys signed up for Ryan. You didn't sign up for me, but I do appreciate you guys, hanging out here for a bit. But even now, with the stuff that we're finding out, the New York Post just posted something. I seen it on Twitter earlier, where they're finally admitting, oh, did you guys know that the vaccine could cause some heart and lung and might actually cause some blood clots? Kind of weird, huh? Isn't that strange? It's like, oh yeah, we've known about that for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone who said it got banned.
Exactly. Yeah. My second channel just went just like that. Just like that. It's like, we reviewed your content. It's like, can I get an appeal? Sure. We'll go through your entire channel in less than 30 minutes to go, no, we made the right decision.
Oh yeah. We watched every single video just now. Yeah. We're having, I guess, connection issues here in this hotel, but so I'm gonna end it because it's getting annoying going on.
Yeah, that's what I said to people. Kind of makes sense. They signed up for you. I'm just here as a very thankful guest. This was a hell of a lot of fun.
No, you have an underrated channel, and it's why, like, I could have talked wrestling with some other people, but I wanted to talk about this subject, but I also want to talk about it with you, because I feel like you're doing good work and you're not noticed as much as you ought to be. So
I appreciate that, right?
I know how that is. So like, yeah.
Hey man, I try to drop my little red pills in there every once in a while whenever I can make reference to foreign country A. It's always like, shout out Ryan Dawson. Anyways, we'll just continue right on so I can continue to get.
I grabbed foreign country A from Justin Raimondo, who was talking about the reports on the there was a scandal back in the day with APAC, of course, with Lawrence Franklin and these guys, Keith Weisman and Steve Rosen, and all throughout the document they keep saying foreign country A, and you fucking know it's Israel, right? And so I just kept saying that until it became a catchphrase. But that's the origin of it. Rest in peace, Justin Raimondo. But,
absolutely.
Yeah, man, that guy was a stud too. I wish he had been around for all the Epstein shit. It would have been amazing, but oh well. But I will have you on again. I love talking wrestling anyway.
Absolutely.
It is a political thing, though. This is like in the purview of the stuff I normally do, but it just happens to be something I enjoy for once. The wrestling made America great, man. That was like Japan and the U.S. have vibrant pro wrestling programs and mixed martial arts programs, and no one else really does. Nobody else really has that.
And if you want to talk old pride, if you want to talk about old MMA back in the cut, your guy on that one. I just don't have the opportunity to talk about it. Like, I'll talk about anything. It's just
wrestling and Trailer Park Boys is what made me like Canadians, and then Trudeau made me hate him again. But I'm like, it was because of Bret Hart. You know, from Bret Hart to Jericho and all the great Canadian wrestlers, it made them respectable. It's like, well, there's that, and there's hockey, I guess. But it was like, there's that. There's Chris Benoit too, before the, obviously.
Yeah, before he went flumpy.
Yeah, too many chair shots there, probably. But great Canadian wrestlers. They even had a feud between Canada and the U.S., which I thought was hilarious because it's so dumb. But like,
Christians, un-Americans. Yeah. Oh my God.
The Hart family and all that, and they had like, what was it?
The Canadians, Calgary Stampede. Yeah, against Austin Road Warriors, and who else was on Austin's team?
Yeah, Shamrock. Yeah, Austin. Yeah.
God, that's the guy that they dropped the ball on. Should have been huge.
Dude, he was good IC champ. And I think he had a pinched nerve in his neck. He was doing a feud with Jericho right when Jericho came over to as Y2J. Good IC champ, good wrestler, good worker, believable. That dude was a main event guy. Shamrock. He was the one UFC person that really came over. Well, actually, he started in wrestling, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Then he went to UFC. Right. Then he went to WWE. But that was a guy who really knew the craft. I liked him as a wrestler. He's up there.
They should have gave him more mic time, because especially with the build with Tito Ortiz from back in the day, it's like, if you just let the guy talk, he could have sold a lot of tickets, but for whatever reason, man, and maybe just broken down.
I think he was rounding the corner. Like, you had these super big names, the Undertaker and Steve Austin were sort of the top, and then you had like Rock and Triple H were ascending, Mick Foley. Then because Angle was just coming in, it would have been Shamrock and Kurt Angle were like the guys, and Y2J and stuff. But that Kane was big at the time too. But they, I don't know. He never got his main event run, but I believe he was in the mix. He would have been wrestling Rock for sure. They had that going too, but he got hurt, and that was it.
If you could have hung on until Austin and Rock really hung it up just a couple of years later, who knows? Who knows what could have happened?
If Austin hadn't been injured by Hart, that guy made more money for WWF. He's on. Before I end, we'll Mount Rushmore this stuff because it's.
I wanted to ask you that. That's great.
You want to ask me that? All right. Or I was going to ask you, but I've already, people have heard mine, but I'll give it again.
No, I can.
Give me your Mount Rushmore.
Me? It's pretty easy, actually. Okay, so we got Hogan, we got Flair, we got Austin, and we got Undertaker.
Yeah, it's usually the fourth one that people are like, "Ooh, this is a lot of choices."
Yeah,
you gotta have Hogan,
yes,
and you gotta have Austin because they made the most money. It's the Attitude Era. It's the original like Hulkamania. Yes, he's a wrestler. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan. Everybody.
Even when people are asked to cut a wrestling promo, just get off the cuff, like, it's going to be a wrestling promo. Yeah. It's what you're going to do, or it's going to be slap into a Slim Jim. Yeah. Okay. So the legacy of those two guys right there transcends everything. It could have been Undertaker or it could have been Macho Man.
Savage.
Now that I think about it, probably,
also, because
I'll switch out Undertaker for Macho Man because that's my guy. That's definitely my guy for sure.
Undertaker had that longevity, but Savage
Yeah.
was the Babe Ruth of wrestling. He did the commentating, he did the wrestling, he did everything. He was good with anything. He could wrestle anybody
Yes.
also and make it good.
Well,
The
too.
Savage Steamboat matches solidified, like that stole the show.
You go back and you watch that right now, it stands up against anything else that you're going to see out there. It's not quite as acrobatic as some of the goofy shit that's out there right now, but you know, telling a story for about 20 minutes, you're not going to find anything better than that.
If you had a 6 foot and under Mount Rushmore, who would you go?
Okay.
I won't say small guys. That's not that small, but
no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Got to have Eddie Guerrero.
Good choice.
1,000%.
Latino heat. Yeah.
Probably go Benoit. That's another guy who could have a match with anybody. I know Angle's under 6. I think he is.
I think he's 6 feet. Yeah, but with the broken neck, he might have gotten to 5'11". Yeah.
Absolutely. By the time he was in TNA, all on Percocet, he was probably under 6. That's for true.
These are all great actual like wrestler too. Like
that's me. I love me some characters, but at the same time,
some of the top technical wrestlers would have been like Benoit, Guerrero, Bret Hart.
Yeah,
Angle too, actually. Yeah.
Even being Canadian, like I don't really like a lot of the Canadian wrestlers. It's kind of crazy, but like my first piece of wrestling memorabilia that I remember, it was a Bret Hart, like a little teddy bear or whatever. He got the wraparound shades and all that stuff, and I've come to respect Bret Hart.
Wrestling buddies, I think, where they're like that.
I think, yeah, that was probably it. And then, so what do I got? I got Chris, I got Eddie, or Angle, and I want to go international with this because there's some guys that I really like.
Chris, you mean Chris Jericho? Or are you saying
Benoit?
Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit.
I like Jericho, but he's not up there. I could probably go recent. Some guys that I really like over in NJPW. Hiromu Takahashi's a fucking beast. I really like him. There's probably some names that I'm obviously forgetting, but
Styles.
What's your under 6? Yeah. Oh, AJ Styles. He's who brought me back to wrestling, actually, when WWE signed up him, and what they've done with Nakamura pisses me off more than anything else.
It's a very hard choice, and if I think about it more, I'll probably change my answers. But I would go with Angle, Guerrero, Benoit, and Styles.
Yeah. No, 1,000%.
But then I'm gonna go, oh wait, this guy.
Yeah, like the Mount Rushmore of the overall wrestlers, that one's a little bit more concrete. Okay, like top 5, top 4. That one's like right there. Like, what's yours?
You can make an argument for people like Andre and stuff too, just because of they made it
transcending.
He was such a thing. He's an attract. Look at that. He's this. He's a giant. It's hard, but he was a big draw just by himself and all. The first couple are easy, like Hogan and Austin. Flair is a very solid third or second choice because of the longevity, the woo. Austin's a guy that like his catchphrase is still said and he's not even there. People still don't.
Which one?
What all the time, especially the what thing. People still do the woo. Anytime somebody chops anybody, the woo from Ric Flair comes out.
Regardless of promotion. Yep.
Yeah, they don't care. And it's just like, just accept it. They're all going to always do that. But he's the original G for the chop.
Yep.
And he kind of took Freddie Glassie's shtick, though, with the whole, like, I'm rich and you're poor and eat it, whatever. But he
took it to that next level by just going absolutely unhinged.
What the fuck happened to my camera?
Hey, you're all froze up there. We could still hear you.
Well, can you hear me?
No. We can hear you. No, it's just me, but
this is going to the end then. Well, we'll just do the wrestling Rushmore stuff later.
Absolutely.
Good to have you on. I'm forced to let
Ryan.
you go. I see I see Arnold in the back there.
That's man, it just his complete and total fall from mental grace has been. It's one of those situations where you really have to employ death of the author and just separate the art from the artist, because Arnold
full circle to bodybuilding.
And wrestling.
They called Hulk Hogan was he was on a radio show and they said you're bigger than the Hulk, meaning Lou Ferrigno.
That's
right. How he got the name Hulk.
And then Hogan,
the
because
guy
Vince
who
wanted
played
to.
the Incredible Hulk in the 70s TV show was Lou Ferrigno. So
Yeah,
Hulk with a Hulk. And then so Terry was said they called him Hulk Hogan because he's bigger than the Hulk.
absolutely. Yeah.
And
And then
Marvel, there
Hogan.
was a thing. There's a story there with Marvel. I don't know if you know about it, but I'm not gonna have time.
Yeah, exactly. When you're back on camera and when we do this again, we'll be able to talk some more.
We'll do that.
Talk
All
some more
right.
Fed.
You're all of your links are below, guys. Go add his YouTube and Rumble, or just add the Rumble. Fuck YouTube, but
Don Consuelo, anywhere you want him.
you also have a Twitter, and I
Yep.
guess we're done because something's wrong with the camera.
Exactly.
I think it's this stupid electric thing. I have to go pull a card in and out of the door, whatever. Anyway, it's
fair
over.
enough.
Peace.
Sounds good. Later, guys.